Hello everyone. This is just a quick note before we jump into the actual next lesson. So really quick, I just want to talk about the classic editor versus the default editor. Let me show you what in the world I'm talking about. So here's my website, and if I jump into the admin dashboard, and if I begin creating a brand new post, this screen that we see whenever we are creating a new page or post or editing an existing page or post, we refer to this screen as the editor or the edit screen. Now in December of 2018, WordPress did something very controversial. They completely redesigned the edit screen, meaning for the last decade, up until December of 2018, this edit screen looked drastically different. Now some people love this new editor, but some people really do not like it. And when I say some people, I don't just mean a few loud, angry people. I mean millions and millions of people do not like this new editor. Now this is not surprising. The official WordPress team knew that a lot of people would not like this editor. They knew it would be a controversial decision. In fact, if I switch over to the official WordPress blog from the official WordPress website, they posted this blog about the new update to the new editor. And they have a section in the blog called Keep It Classic. And it says that if you prefer to keep the older or classic editor, they will keep supporting it through a plugin through 2021. So I'm assuming that means December 31st of 2021 or January 1st of 2022. Either way, that's several more years of people being able to use the older original or classic editor if they want to. Now a bit later on in this video lesson, I'm going to show you how to enable the older classic editor. But before we do that, I want to show you the basics of the new or modern editor. Right, so this is the screen we've been using throughout the course so far. You can add a title here. And then down here we add our content, right? So you can say this is content. Now here's the interesting thing about the new editor. If I push enter or return to create a new paragraph and say hello again, it actually creates separate blocks. That's the term that WordPress is using for each piece of content now, a block. Now aside from paragraphs, there are many different other types of blocks. So for example, if I wanted to switch this from a paragraph to a larger headline, I can click into that block, and then while I'm hovering over it, if I use this icon, I can change the type of block. So I could change it to a heading. Okay, and then aside from pushing enter or return to create a new block, we can also use this icon towards the top left of the edit screen, this plus symbol. We can use this to create a new block. And then that will actually give us a menu of all of the different block types. So this would allow us to insert an image into the content of our post, or a bulleted list, or a large quote, or if you wanted to embed a YouTube video into your content, you can search here for the type of block you're interested in. So I could just say YouTube, and then it'll show me the result. I could click this, and then it's as simple as just pasting in the URL of the YouTube video you want to include, and then you would click embed, and then it would show up in your content. So that's the new or modern editor in a nutshell. Everything is a block, and there are different types of blocks. A block can be a paragraph, it can be a headline, it can be a photograph, it can be a YouTube video, and then you're free to drag and rearrange the blocks. You get the idea. Now this new editor has only officially been a part of WordPress since December of 2018. And I've gone ahead and re-recorded or refilmed the first 5 or 6 lessons of the course to show the new editor. Now eventually it will make sense to re-record the entire course using the modern editor, but I don't think that time is now, because there are still millions of people that prefer the older or classic editor. And the official WordPress team themselves in their official blog post have noted that you can continue using the classic editor through the entire year of 2021. So as of right now, I can let you know that the remainder of this course is going to use the older or classic editor. Now, I don't want to come across as a traditionalist who is afraid of change or the future. This new modern editor that we see here is definitely the way forward. However, I do think that it's going to go through a bit of growing pains for the next 6 months to a year. It was just released by the WordPress team, and I think there's some big bugs and kinks that they need to work out of the system. So eventually down the road, this would be the editing experience that I wholeheartedly recommend, but I don't think we're there yet. But that's just my opinion. If you want to use this new modern editor, that's a-okay. I just want this issue to be on your radar. I want you to be aware of the fact that some people like the new editor, a lot of people don't. And it's up to you to choose which editing experience you want to use. So at this point, we've seen the new modern editor. Now I want to show you how to try out the older classic editor. So right now I want you to follow along with me. Within the left-hand menu of the admin screen, look for plugins. It should be about the 5th or 6th link down in the menu. So plugins, go ahead and click on that. Now don't worry, in a future lesson, I will explain what a plugin is. Right now though, I can let you know that you don't need to know what a plugin is in order to use the classic editing experience. So this screen shows us all of the plugins that we currently have. We want to add a new one. So we can either click Add New up here at the top, or we can click Add New in the sidebar that's nested under Plugins. So Add New Plugin. From this Add Plugin screen, I'm going to use this search bar towards the top right, and I want you to search for a plugin that is named Classic Editor. For me, it is the first result, Classic Editor. You can see that it's created by the official WordPress team, WordPress contributors. This means it is 100% legit, safe, and secure. This is not a plugin created by a random community member held up by duct tape and hacks. This is the official WordPress editor that has been a part of WordPress for years and years. And you can see that at the time I'm recording this, it has a perfect 5-star rating, and it is used on over 1 million different websites already. So go ahead and click the Install Now button for the Classic Editor. Give it a minute or two, and as soon as it installs, this button will now say Activate instead of Install Now. So go ahead and click the Activate button. Okay, and now let's go try to create a brand new blog post. So in the sidebar, Posts, Add New. And you can see that this editing screen looks a bit different. This is the classic editor. Up until December of 2018, this is the general way that the WordPress editing screen looked for the past decade plus. This is where you add your title, hello world, and this is where you add your content. And you can see that this resembles a word processing document. So you can type, here is a bit of content, and there's just one big large field. Everything does not get broken up into its own separate block. If you want to make something bold, you just highlight it. You can click the bold or italic icon. If you want to change something to a headline, you could just select this and then choose this instead of paragraph, make it a heading level 2. Now, I'm not going to show every feature of the classic editor right now because that's what we're going to learn throughout the remainder of this course. In future lessons, we will learn how to add a photograph into our content, how to embed a YouTube video, and much more. So I strongly encourage you to use this classic editor with me throughout the remainder of the course. But I don't want you to feel completely locked into the classic editor. I think it would be a good idea to use it throughout this course so that we are on the same page. And then once you are familiar with WordPress as a whole, you'll be in a much better position to make an educated decision. And then you can decide which editing experience you prefer. With that in mind, really quick, I want to show you how you would disable the classic editor and go back to the modern editor. So in the left-hand sidebar, look for plugins again. Click on plugins. This screen shows you all of the plugins you currently have. Look for classic editor and then just click the deactivate button right below its title. Once it's deactivated, your WordPress will use the new modern editor once again. So you can just activate and deactivate and switch back and forth however often you want. The decision is up to you, but just know that I am going to use the classic editor in the upcoming video lessons. I feel that it's easier to use and it's just more intuitive for the majority of people. And apparently it seems like millions of others agree with that sentiment. Hopefully down the road, maybe 6 months to a year from now, the modern editor gets a few improvements or changes made to it, and it becomes the unanimous optimum editing experience. I do know that the classic editor will be officially supported by WordPress at least until the very end of 2021. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole issue plays out. I think you're fine either way, whichever editing experience you choose. Let's keep rolling through these lessons. We are going to be using the classic editor, and I will see you in the next lesson.